Hello. Okay, so now that at least one person is here, the person who prompted that I even do this is not here, which is he actually is he even online? No. That would be why. Okay. Um that's fine. It'll be available in an archive later. So, for the past couple months, I have been revisiting a game that I played originally many years ago, probably around 2013. And it's not this one that's on the screen, it's a different one, and I'll start with that. But I'm just going to have this going while I get some exposition out of the way. So basically, around 2013, I was in a long distance relationship, and during that, we would we would play games together via Skype a lot, and she had a much more working and active knowledge of obscure Flash games that were fun to play than I did, because I only ever really got interested in those in high school, and my scope was pretty limited. I found some interesting and fun things back then, but the school's filters blocked most things, all that good stuff. So, she introduces me to this game called Stick Ranger, which is actually behind the chat. Actually, heck, do I even really need the chat here? Chat's probably not going to be saying anything. I'm going to turn it off for now. There we go. So now we can see the whole. We can see the whole screen now. Okay. So, I don't know if I've been to Cool Math. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so she introduces me to this game called Stick Ranger, this game right here, and she introduced it to me completely separately. Like, it was just kind of a spur of the moment, like, hey, we should play this. Now, I didn't find out until later that Stick Ranger is actually made by the same person who made another particularly famous quote-unquote Flash game called Powder Game, which is right here. People are familiar with the Powder Game, and this was actually one that I played in high school, but it wasn't on this site, it was somewhere else. And there are many different iterations of this. Like this, I think this is the original, as far as I know, but there are many. This game takes many forms, but this is a game, like, it's a really surprisingly sophisticated physics simulator for what it is. Oh, see, this is what I mean. Like, so here, the deal with this game is, it's running in fucking JavaScript in HTML. That's what this is. Which is really impressive that this game runs as well as it does, and, is as sophisticated as it is. To function this way. This is pretty sophisticated. And all of these games in this list here are like this. They're all JavaScript games. They all used to be Java games, but then Java applets became not the standard anymore, and he converted them to JavaScript, which makes them really fucking hard to, read the code for and everything, but, so he did that. Oh my god, what is going on here? Okay. People are familiar with Powder Game. That was the 8th game that this guy made, and the guy is, his name is it on here? Yeah. Hassi, or half a 5e. And he made every one of the games on this site. Apparently the first one he ever made was Rockets, I don't know what that is. The only ones on this list I've ever played are Powder Game, Stick Ranger, and today I started playing Monster Box and got addicted to it. These are the only ones I've ever played. And this sort of is a spin-off of the, random Newgrounds crap, except these are actually good games. Well, okay, they're quote-unquote new games, or good games. These games are very hard to quantify, okay? The reason for that is, first you have to understand Hassi, or half of 5e, here. Oh, Cheese is here, okay, hey Cheese. He's Japanese. So the translation, the translation in these games, not very good. It's passable. You know what he's trying to say, but some concepts get a little confusing. So, and as you can see, the graphics are nothing, but the physics are really fucking good for like a piddly JavaScript game like this. And we'll see in a minute that these games are surprisingly well designed. Like this guy is good at game design. There's no arguing that. But he may be not so good at presentation. These games have no sound. They have no music. They have nothing. Just these really smooth visuals. And all of these games have like an interesting quirk to them. They're all very unique. It's not old NES games level bad. Here, let me turn the chat back on now that people are actually talking. There we go. Isn't it funny? Like, I didn't actually have to rearrange my my stream layout at all. The chat just happened to fit perfectly with this. Like, this just happened to work. So, but you'll see, like, just some of the concepts are just translated a little weird, but he got it right for the most part. But, okay, so Stick Ranger. So my girlfriend introduced me to this game in, like, 2013, and this game, hold on, do I actually have a save that I haven't backed up? I don't think so. This is 2 magicians, 2 priests at Hell 1. Do I have that backed up? I don't know. I'd have to overwrite it in order to find out. Shit. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. The save files in these games are something I'm going to cover in a minute, because even those are fucking weird and don't work like you'd expect. So let me just make a temporary backup here. Yeah, this is a save file. This is what the save file looks like. This, like, random crap, and I'll explain what that is. But, it was girlfriend at the time. I don't have a girlfriend now. Okay. So, is that the same as this file? Let's find out. No, it is not. This file's actually further. Okay, so that was an old file. Okay, good. No, because you can just copy-paste it, but I'll cover the save system later. So, but first, let me delete the save and refresh the page and make a new game. So, here's how this works. You have 4 stickmen that you control loosely. And they can have one of 8 classes, and you can pick them in any combination. Doesn't matter. I'm going to pick 2 priests and 2 gunners. I'm just gonna... I don't feel the need to explain all the characters, because there's a very good wiki for this game that explains things pretty damn well. I don't need to cover everything. Hello. But I'm picking this particular loadout because it's the first one I ever beat the whole game with, and it's really fucking good. Unfortunately, it's a little slow to start, but... So, I click Start Game, and actually here, before I even do that, here's the world map. The game, there's no tutorial, no introduction, doesn't explain how to do anything. When I said HESI or Hef55e is good at game design, it's immediately obvious as soon as you start playing, because you look at this, there's no tutorial, you have all these things, you don't know what any of this fucking shit is. There's only 2 things you can click on, Town and Opening Street. And you go to Town, and there's a shop, and there's a thing that's just called Book, which is a mistranslation, which actually means, like, level data, and there's an inn, and none of it's explained. And so you click on Opening Street, and right away, the characters are just moving on their own, and they're just attacking the enemies on their own. Very hands-off. And the part about this that's really, really good game design is that the creator is teaching explicitly through level design. He's not good at translating, so he probably couldn't have written a tutorial anyway. So he's like, the only way I can communicate to the player how to play is via level design. So what did he do? He stuck a bunch of, like, weak enemies that have very, very low range attacks that are very quick to kill, and he put, just kind of scattered them about the level, made it so that basically there's no way you're going to start this and not see that the characters move on their own, they attack on their own, and enemies drop money, they drop food, which restores your health, and they rarely drop items like this one. Or weapons, rather. And it's not just weapons, it's other things. Hello. So, I knew I wouldn't get far. How was work?
Shitty.
It's busy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There was like a typhoon.
Just rain and it hailed.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised by that. Yeah, I was just sitting here and I was like, just hearing these thumps. I'm like, what the crap? And I thought it was like the rain gutter at first, like emptying or something. And then it was just getting stronger and stronger, and it sounded terrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine, but I guess I'm really used to it. It hails every so often.
The best part was just there's like this torrential rain coming down and lightning and stuff, and you've got these people coming in. Can I get a delivery? No.
Dude,
We're not.
We turned off deliveries.
Really?
We turned off
I didn't know you could do
We
that.
turned off the website.
Wow.
Yeah, we got so backed up. We had like 70 orders.
Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a lot because I'm like explaining
That's
a
fine.
concept for a game.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Alright.
we'll ignore you.
Okay. That is pretty much what I want. Okay, so where even was I? I don't remember. Level design. The game explains itself solely through how things are laid out. Well, at Sonic they have like there's like a cover over everything, so the workers don't really have to go outside. Okay, so then you kill some of the enemies, and you notice that there's these pluses next to your stats after like killing a certain number of enemies, and you realize, oh, I can distribute points into stats, and it tells you how many points you have right here, and here's your level, and all that good stuff. And so you do that, and you'll notice that it doesn't explain what any of the stats do, and even more confusingly, the stats do different things for different classes. So the wiki is really, really your best friend. You'll even see if I type in the word Dan, I immediately get Dan Ball wiki, specifically the list of guns. But, that's like your opinion, man. No, that's not what I meant. Here's all the classes, and it'll list, no, I want the one in Stick Ranger, thank you. It'll list what the stats do and all that good stuff. And, so you come over here, and you're a gunner, so you put your hard-earned points into magic, because that'll make your gun cost less. You put the shit into strength, so you can do damage. Well, it's not my fault that the way that this game is balanced and designed, that the gunner class just happens to be one of the two best classes in the game, excuse me. But, so you do this, and you play this for a while, and every stage has a boss, and when you beat the boss, you unlock more stages, and you get all these weapon drops, and you sell them for money, and you just do that over and over until you beat the game. There's a little bit more to it, though. Because the stats do different things, you want to build a particular way, and yeah, it's weird. Like, here, let me go to the wiki, and I'll go to classes, and I'll go to gunner, and I'll show you why I did that, because it's weird. You would think a gunner, what is he going to use magic for? And a priest, what is he going to use strength for? Well, if we look at the gunner page, magic says minus $1 to shooting cost, minimum cost $1. Guns cost money to fire bullets, and if you invest in magic, it makes the bullets cost less, magically, right? Makes sense. It is very counterintuitive. The stats in this game don't make a lot of sense. Some of them do, but not most of them. That's why you really, really have to use the wiki. So then you go to the priest page, and you're like, what does strength do? Aura attack plus 1%. And, it explains here how that works. But basically, every point in strength increases the whole team's damage output by 1%. So strength on a priest is really, really good. So you do that, you do this, and then you get through the rest of the game, and I'm going to load a file that's basically already beat. So I can show what this looks like toward the end. And so I made two gunners, two priests. Here's exactly that team, but at the end of the game, right? With different weapons, but I have like the whole game beat at this point, and so I'll just go here. And it immediately looks ridiculous because you'll see that the gunners are using some shotguns, but like the bullets just kind of fly everywhere and they shoot tons of them. And the reason for that is because I've equipped them with these power-ups that affect the weapons. Like the shotguns have plus 150% bullets, so they shoot 150% more bullets than normal. And this one is 60% faster than normal, and this one has a 15% chance of doing 900% more damage. So these things kill fast, but plus the priests have a bunch of strength, so they're doing more damage anyway. And, you know, you do this, and you kill things, and you go to the boss, and you beat stages. Like this. That's the boss. And you send the gunners over there, and you tell them to kill the thing, and it dies. And hopefully it drops something, but it didn't because it's a piece of shit. And that's this game. It doesn't seem like much on the surface, and it's not. But you know what the nice thing? You know what the nice thing about this game is? Well, I didn't really watch much of Atop the Fourth Wall, so I wouldn't really get it anyway. But the nice thing about this game is you can just set it, and then go and do something else, and then come back, and you know, in a few minutes later, the characters have killed everything on the screen, and you can take one of them and go, okay, let's go to the next screen, and they do that. So if you're grinding or if you're just trying to progress, you can just kind of set it to the side and do it, and then do something else, and it's like it's useful to fill like gaps of time where you're waiting for something to process, or like you're loading something, or like you launch a game and it's loading, and it's like, well, I'll go move my guy to the next screen and change their equipment a bit. So for that reason I like it, and it's, you know, there's a lot of strategy to it. What items you put on what weapons and what stats you invest are all very important and very influential, which makes it a surprisingly deep game for just a little like piddly, like, what even is this? What the fuck? What kind of a game do you play where like the primary method of control is you drag your character by the head and then like you fling them around the screen? What is this? But you know, I pretty much when I'm at work, I always have this on my left monitor going while I'm doing something else, so that the moment I hit compile, I can turn to the left, drag one of the characters across the screen, like so, and then go back to doing what I was doing, which is really useful. So I'm at work, I'm doing that, and I'm at a part where I'm like, I don't know what to do here. So I look at the wiki, and I go to one of the classes, and I click, which one was I looking at? I think I was looking at Magician. I click on Magician, and you'll notice it goes to this page, and it says, oh, you know what? Actually, before I get to that, there is one thing I need to talk about, the save system. So all of these games save using browser cookies, which really sucks. These games are meant to like have you register to be able to like get and set the save file, but fuck that, it doesn't work, it's buggy, and I've lost save files to that, so I stopped using it. Instead, I got this little browser add-on, which the chat is in the way of. Let me get rid of this bullshit. There we go. I got this little cookie viewer and editor, which says, you know, has the save here, and this is the save file. And so when the game automatically saves every time you go to a sign like this, and it says save OK, or every time you go to the map from a shop, it'll save on the world map. And when it does that, it exports your inventory and your weapons and your stats and stuff to... It serializes them out to some raw data, and it puts that in a cookie, which is why it looks like just a random string of garbage. But if you take this exactly as it is, and you copy it, and you put it in a notepad document, you can save it that way, and then if you want to load a different one, you can just paste one in here, and then, you know, do that and refresh the page, and it'll be there. I kind of wish the game had its own system for that, but that's okay. It runs in JavaScript, so I don't expect much. Okay, but now that I've explained how saving works, now I can go back to this. So I'm on the wiki, I go to Magician, and for 4 of the classes here, there's 8 classes, and for 4 of them, if you click on the name, it'll go to this like disambiguation page rather than the page itself. I don't know why it's like that. They really should just have it so that, like, if I'm on the Stick Ranger section and I go to Sniper, I mean the fucking Stick Ranger Sniper. I don't mean the Sniper for Monster Box. What kind of design is that? But, you know, I'm used to seeing this, and then I'm sitting at work and I'm like, well, what even is this? What even is Monster Box? I've seen that before. So I go to the page and I look over here and it's like Monster Box. Okay, what is that? So I click on that. And I see that it looks completely different. And it's a very different game, but it's got 4 of the classes from the other game, and they work the same way. But the mechanics of this game are totally different. So I'm messing around with this and I'm playing around with it, and I learn how it works. And the way this works is you have this box and it has a meter, and it's constantly filling up. And you have a meter up here that lists how many monsters are on the screen. When this bar fills up, this box produces some monsters like this, and I can click to make it accelerate. Produces a bunch of monsters, and if there are more than the maximum length of this bar on the screen, so if there's more than 1,000 enemies on the screen, you lose. Or actually, I think if there's exactly 1,000 or more, you lose. So the objective is to not let that happen. Now, to start off with, like, if I go here and I just start a fresh one, this is what it would look like upon playing it for the first time. You make a box or whatever, it doesn't matter, and any of the classes you pick are easily going to be able to destroy all the enemies before the box makes more. So the game doesn't start you off with a challenge, but I'm looking down here at all these things and I'm like, well, okay, what's the purpose of the game? What are the mechanics here? So I figure out that you can click on this to accelerate the bar and make it spawn more enemies. And I figure out that enemies, unlike in the other game, don't actually damage you. Instead, they just kind of exist and your characters just beat them up. And the only point that I can discover to doing that is the enemies drop gold and you get money. And everything down on this half of the screen all requires money. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'm sitting here and I'm holding this, waiting for it to spawn enemies, and I'm looking at the stuff at the bottom of the screen. And you've got your character, and obviously this is his attack, and apparently he's got a ranged attack that I can buy, and he can increase his attack percentage like as a buff, and increase his range and all that good stuff. And it costs money, and I can also add another guy, apparently up to 8. And then, they also all have, I don't have $500 yet, but, they all have their different abilities and stuff, and you can do that. And then in the middle, you've got, you can spend $100 to make it so that the mouse charges the box faster. Or you can increase the maximum monster limit, and you can, get more money out of monsters, stuff like that. Then on the right, which is where this game really is quite interesting, you have the monsters that are available, and there's only 4. 3 of them you have to purchase, so you actually have to purchase the ability to fight more monsters. If I click on the one that I already have, he also has abilities that I can, invest in, which is really weird. So I can upgrade the monsters, so it's like, okay, so the purpose of the game isn't necessarily to beat all the monsters, because I'm also controlling them, sort of. I can't, interact with them, but I can improve them. And so I'm messing around with that, and I noticed that if I do that, the amount of money that I get out of them per unit enemy goes up 1. I'm like, okay. But they also get a little stronger. So, following this logic, I play the game for a while, and I come to find out that this is actually a very interesting... It's almost a game. It's close. This is a interesting, simulator for RPG mechanics and upgrading mechanics. So, the game itself doesn't have a point, but it is actually rather challenging and addicting to try to max everything out, to make it so that your characters are killing monsters at a rapid rate, and you can, and you're investing at a rate that won't make the monsters overpower the characters. So I've discovered that if I make a gladiator, and I give him this ability, which hits all enemies in a range, then he can kill a lot of enemies at once. And then I can make other kinds of enemies for him to fight. And I can go on in this fashion until I have just a ridiculous boatload of things. I wish I had a completed, I actually haven't beat this game yet, but, beat, quote unquote. I wish I had a file that was much further along, because, like, the whole screen gets filled with monsters, and your guys are just throwing attacks everywhere, and stuff's dying, and you're making, like, millions of money a second, and it's very fun to get that far, and it doesn't take too terribly long, but this is exactly why I said this isn't a streaming game when I was asked, right? So, it's because in order to get to the point where this game even is remotely interesting, I would have to sit here and, you know, dick around with this for probably about an hour before it got to a point where I'm actually making a whole bunch of money and, like, there's just tons of monsters on the screen and things are dying left and right, and I'm actually having to worry about the bar up here. But given that there's no sound, no music, no point, this isn't really the sort of game that I can stream.
Oh my god, it is.
But it is the sort of game I have interest in, just because it's an RPG simulator, sort of. It's a very basic one. You know, I see a good design here. I feel like, given a few extra mechanics and a goal, this actually could be a fun little distraction. And it probably wouldn't hurt to have some sound design in there either. I don't know what Papa's Ria is. I don't think now's the time to test it either, because my voice is already starting to hurt, because I've been talking straight for so long. And I really just wanted to do this to just show off these games, to hopefully kind of generate some interest in them, because I'm the only person I know that cares about these games, and it's hard for me to explain why I even care about them, other than play it for yourself, Monster Box you don't have to, it doesn't have a point, whatever. Stick Ranger at the very least, though. This is a good game. This is fun. It's very, very difficult. It's very challenging. This game will kick your ass, and it'll do it a lot. The game's not kicking my ass right now because my characters are ridiculous at this point, but you know, oh, and okay, my headset just turned off. That was nice. There we go. You know, there's fun in this. Trust me. Just if you're interested, which I'm sure no one is, but I'm gonna, you know, try it anyway. Give this game, like, set it off to the side while you're doing something else that's gonna take a few hours. Like, maybe you're watching a stream, maybe you're just waiting for some event to happen. Put this game over to the side, dick around with it, and I feel like, given, you know, like 5 or 6 hours of having this game off to the side and just kind of idly playing it, you'll kind of get sucked into it like I did. That's all I wanted to, that's what I wanted to, that was the whole stream, basically. That was the whole thing. I know it only lasted, like, 5 minutes, but Jesus. This boss just instantly killed my character. What an asshole. Gotta fix that shit. It was an effort. It was an effort. These games have been around a long time, since 2008. And surprisingly, they're still being updated. Version 18.9. What even is 18.9? I don't think I know what that update added. Oh, add restart mode. Okay, yeah, no, that one was added a little while ago. But this game is still getting updated. Or at least it was. The last level was added several months ago, I think. And then restart mode and the level Volcano, which is like a challenge mode, which I actually can't beat. I can't beat this one. It really sucks. Because it's a boss rush type thing. This was added a few months ago, and then restart mode was added shortly afterward. And I don't know if the developer plans to continue after this, because this game looks pretty finished to me at this point. But the games don't have permadeath. No, they don't. But as you can see, healing costs money, and it's $1 per health point. And so if you completely die, which I will intentionally do right now, I'll show how that works, because I didn't actually address that. Oh, here, perfect. So this is the final boss, and it's got an instant kill move here, which I'm trying to take advantage of. There we go. When you die, you click, and you get back to the title screen, and you click load, and all your characters are at 1 HP, and you go over here, and you heal it. Now, technically, for any classes that are not the gunner, that is not the end of the world. Just go, you know, to the easiest level in the game, get some money, and heal. If you have gunners, the game runs a lot slower toward the beginning, like in the first area here, because the gunners need money to fire, and if they don't have money, they will not attack, period. And priests don't do dick for damage, so it's very painful to restart from there. But, no. Like, that's the closest you can get to permadeath, is soft-locking yourself via extreme fuckery. But these are fun games, I swear. They're just extremely difficult to illustrate the enjoyability of without, like, actually sitting down and playing them for a while. And that takes hours and hours, because you rely on drops from enemies that are rare, and they take a long time to grind out. It's best to do this while you're doing something else, because this takes absolutely no attention span, or at least for most of the time it doesn't. Some of the bosses do. Like, this one. Not this one. This one. This boss takes attention span. Because this boss shoots poison anywhere on the screen that will basically instantly kill any character that it hits. Doesn't matter what the character is. And this guy, yep. I have, like, endgame weapons, so I killed him easily, but you won't have these by then, so, like, that's a battle that'll take, like, 30 minutes, but other than that. And since my headset keeps turning off because there's no sound, I guess I need to go ahead and be done. Hopefully someone will join me in enjoying this game so that I have someone to talk to about it, because so far all I know of is a speedrunner for this game. There is one speedrunner of this game in the world that I know of, and I don't really know the guy. I watch his streams sometimes, so he doesn't stream very often at all. That's about all I've got.